Hey everyone, I just wanted to go over what we teach in our homeschool. If you watched my previous video about why we decided to homeschool, and another video which breaks down how I plan our year-round schedule, I talk about some of the subjects that we teach, but I wanted to go in a little bit more detail with you today. We break our homeschooling into, I would say, 4 categories. We break it up first with the preschool Totschooling, which is you're learning from birth, and we said to about age 4. So from birth to about age 4, we're going to focus on learning through play, interaction, a lot of conversation, exploration, art, reading. We're going to focus on those fine and gross motor skills, hand-eye coordination. We're going to make sure the kiddos are able to count to a certain number, skip count by like 2, 5, and 10. We'll do, basic things like phonetic sounds, letter and sound recognition, number recognition, opposites, sizing, recognizing their name, things such as tracing. We'll go over and talk about life skills. We'll do some memory work. We'll focus on confidence or growth mindset activities. We'll read and focus on critical thinking skills. The point of preschool and Totschooling is not to be very formal with the activities, but to just hone in on those habits of the heart and mind. And if you look at some of my videos with my toddler, we started this process at birth, I would say, but it was, reading to her, playing with her. It was not teaching her anything specifically, although she was learning. But I would say from 16, 17 months, beginning around that time, we started to do a little bit more formal or structured activities that had a purpose, although it was done through play and song and dance and outside activities and things of that nature. For the elementary school age, that's our next breakout, we call it primary education. And we said that would be kindergarten through 4th grade. The great thing about homeschool is that your child doesn't have to fit in any perfect box. They don't have to be a specific age to do preschooling or Totschooling or primary education and all the other blocks that you'll see in this video. You decide what your child needs to know. It's going to be based on their mental capacity, their capabilities. It's going to be based on their personalities, what you decide to do. It's going to be based on how well they're able to focus at a particular age, their likes and dislikes, their creativity. It's going to be based on a lot of stuff to include you as the parent. So don't put your child in any particular box. If your child is 5 years old and they haven't mastered some of this preschool Totschooling stuff, like the gross or fine motor skills, go ahead and do that. If your child is 6 years old and they're on a 2nd grade level, then focus on everything. Focus on elementary school type items and focus on some things that may be considered a little more advanced. It's all about your children. Homeschool is about tailoring everything you do to your specific child's needs. And remember, I said the word specific, which means if you have more than one kiddo within the same age group, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to use the same information. They're not going to process everything the same way. So mommy and daddy, please be open and willing to give each of your children something different based on their personality and capabilities. Okay, let's go back. So for the primary education, for us, we said it's around kindergarten, which is 4 or 5 years old, through about the 4th grade. And this is where we're going to master basic preschool objectives, making sure they can count at this age, let's say 50 or 100. Make sure they can skip count. Maybe you want to introduce a multiplication by the 2s, 5s, and 10s, and maybe 9s and 11s. Again, it just depends on their capability. Don't push your children if they are frustrated or they seem as though they're not interested. If they're not interested in a particular subject or topic or whatever you're teaching, it doesn't mean that they're never going to be interested. They're just not ready for it, right? They're just not ready for it. Remember this, your children are going to be potty trained. Your children are going to tie their shoes. Your children are going to be able to count. Okay, these are basic life skills. They may not get it at 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 6. Your children, they're going to read. They may not get it at 7 or 8, but eventually they will get it in their timing. So don't push. Allow them to flow through the learning process at their own time. But as mom and dad, if they have a spirit of laziness, that's different. Touch on that and teach them about character and things of that nature. But if it's not a spirit of laziness and it's something that they're honestly, sincerely not getting, not understanding, is creating frustration in your household, let it go, breathe, and come back to it at another time. So again, back to primary education. Here are some of the things that we do or we're going to do within primary education. We'll focus on African studies, and it's all going to be on pre-colonization. We're not even going to touch on colonization and post-colonization and slavery and civil rights and U.S. history and world history and government. We're not going to touch on that until we have understood African studies pre-colonization. That's what we have decided to do in our household. Within kinder through fourth, based on what we've learned thus far for African studies, we'll put in a little bit of U.S. history, a little bit of government. We'll do mapping. As you can see, we're going to do writing, corrective reading, phonics, penmanship, both cursive and manuscript, vocabulary, copywork, narration, dictation, basic research skills, memorization, poetry, math. In the primary education block for our kiddos in that age group, for math, we're focusing on mastery of the basic math concepts, which are subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, and a little bit of analytical and logic work when it comes to math. We're going to also focus on telling time, measurements, a little bit on geography. We believe that if the children can do that and they can master that and they can understand that, then we're able to move on to pre-algebra. Because once you have those skill sets, once you have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and you can think through a process, analyze a process, talk through, explain the process for getting your answer, we firmly believe that you are ready for pre-algebra. So primary education is just getting those basic skills firmly rooted. Okay, we're also going to focus a lot on growth mindset, confidence, okay, character building, good citizenship, safety, art, entrepreneurship, life skills, spirituality. We do discuss biblical topics, spirituality within our homeschool, and that's starting from birth. We're going to read stories. We're going to talk about the amazingness of our Lord. We're going to talk about who our children is in the Lord, what the word says about who they are. We're going to talk about those type of topics as well. Then we get to the preparatory school. For us, preparatory school is the transition, my husband and I like to call it. This is where we are transitioning from lower level skills, lower level math, lower level science, lower level writing and thinking abilities to a much higher level. This is the time frame where the kids are going to show and prove that they understand and have mastered the basic skills. We're going to start pre-algebra here. We're going to focus on mastery of life skills, which means we're going to focus on career exploration, growth mindset, character building, good citizenship, communication, negotiation, soft skills, self-awareness, emotion control, financial literacy, lots of project-based and self-led learning, conscientious topics, what is going on in the world and why, linking things together, entrepreneurship, again, building habits of the heart and mind. We're going to dive deep into the sciences. At this stage, we're going to dive even deeper into pre-colonization. We're going to dive into colonization, slavery, civil rights, a lot of world history, linking events in the Bible to world history and things of that nature. So, and this is where we also begin formal community service. We will track those hours. We will do rhetoric, debate, analysis. Like, this is prepping the child for high school. This is the transition from kid to young, or not young adult, but preteen. So this is the transition from, being a kid to being a preteen to being a teenager, and prepping yourself for life in general and what you can expect, being a young adult as a 16, 17, 18, 15-year-old, So this is, for us, we believe that the preschool Totschooling and the preparatory school is critical to the foundation of our homeschool. We also believe that it's critical to who our children will become as young adults and as adults who journey through life and their community and have families of their own. So that this piece is extremely important to us. The last block is going to be our college prep block, and that's basically high school. For us, we are going to give our child the opportunity to decide whether or not they want to go to school in the 8th grade or 9th grade. If they want to go to school in 8th and 9th or 9th, we are absolutely going to give them the opportunity to do that. And then they'll decide if they want to continue to go to traditional school for high school or if they want to homeschool. My husband and I also discussed, if they decide that they want to go to high school or they're undecided, then we believe by 10th grade, they need to make a firm decision. You're either going to homeschool 9th and 10th and go to school the 11th and 12th, or you're going to do the opposite. But by 10th grade, the decision has to be made, because in high school, there's a lot of tracking that's required for college credit. And if college is the route that my child wants to go to, we have to make sure that we have everything in place for entrance. So what are we going to do in high school? Again, we call it college prep. They've mastered the foundation already, right? They've mastered everything. So in high school, you're just basically making sure that they're on track for the next level. If they want to go to a particular school, or if they want to have their career in a particular field, or if they decide they want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, high school is where we solidify the different options that he or she wants, and we kind of tailor their homeschooling and the curriculum and the programs we choose to get them there. If they want to go to college, we'll make sure they do all the required maths, all the required science. We'll do some dual enrollment for college credit. We'll make sure they have everything they need to meet the requirements for entrance. If they want to do if they want to become an entrepreneur, then we will focus on doing the basic requirements for high school: math, science, social studies, and things of that nature, or history and things of that nature. And we'll focus heavily on sending them to a community college early, where they can dual enroll and attend some classes full time on business or whatever they want to do. So high school will solely depend on their career path, what they're choosing to do. We'll also focus a lot on getting them ready for life. This is where they will handle their own finances. If they have their own vehicle, they're going to have to do a budget. They're going to probably take over, not a bill of ours, obviously not, but this is where they're probably going to take over our budget for a few months, our household budget, and they're going to run it from budgeting to reconciling our records with bank statements and receipts to paying the bills online, writing the checks, going grocery shopping on our behalf, managing a household. This is where they're going to learn basic things: how to change a tire, how to change an air filter in your home, how to do basic maintenance for your vehicle and for your home upkeep. We're going to teach them the things that we did not know growing up, things that we did not learn as a young adult until we were in the situation. So this is basically life prep for the kiddos. So that's what we learn. That's what we're going to learn within our homeschool. So let's break that down and let's talk about what my children currently are learning now based on their age. As you know, our year is broken out in quarters. We have 4 quarters in a year. Each quarter has 3 months. So in our in our year-round homeschooling, here are the subjects that we focus on year-round. We're going to do